What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. And I would ask you to please subscribe and follow on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get your podcasts. Share it with a friend, spread the word. It helps to grow the program, and I can't thank you enough. Today's positive motivational message is put down the phone. We already know that social media is a very toxic place. So, in general, it's just a good idea to take a break. But lately, more so lately, it seems to have become a very toxic place full of fear, anxiety, hatred, anger. And it's just seems like right now is a great idea, a great time to just take a little bit of a break. Talk to somebody in person. Have a real conversation. We don't need the phone constantly. It's good to take a break from now and then, every now and again in general from the phone. Yes, we get entertainment from it. Yes, we get information with it. But in times like this, let's take a little bit of a breather. Let's self-reflect. Let's have conversations with real people. And let's enjoy the actual world. Okay? So that is the message this week. Set the phone down for a little while. Alleviate some of that stress. And we'll have a great week. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. We got a lot to talk about, right? It's episode 264 or 65. Last time I lost track and I don't remember this time either. It's 260 something of Life's a Garden. All right, we're back. Took a week off. Been doing that a lot lately. But it's all right, because last week had a busy week, had a lot going on. I probably could have squeezed the podcast in at some point, but, it was week 1 of football. Sunday wasn't going to happen. I watched football all day Sunday. Saturday was our show. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. And then Monday, usually if I miss the weekend, I'll record on Monday, but it's Monday Night Football. It's still week 1. What's a man supposed to do? What's a fella supposed to do, right? And I even took Monday off. So really, I could have actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was just being lazy, I had a great weekend. It was an awesome, packed weekend, and I was just enjoying it, okay? So I do apologize for missing the week. It's all good. We're here now, and I got a lot to talk about, a lot to fill you in on from the past couple weeks. The show. Okay, so first things first. Thank you so much to everybody that came out to the pub station and rocked out with us. Cutthroat, Render Me Silent, Bloodless, and Pine Box Radio. Great show. Great turnout. We were told we had 315 tickets sold. I don't know if all those people showed up, but regardless, if you bought a ticket, thank you very much. If you showed up, thank you even more. There was a ton of people, right? Like, this was a great turnout. Sold a lot of merch. Had a great show. Let me just say this. Every band performed incredibly. Everybody put on a great show, did it, there was a couple of, technical difficulties here and there, but, you work past that. That's, that always happens. It can't be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect when it comes to these types of things. Regardless of all that, I thought everybody did great. Everybody put on a good show, sounded awesome. Crowd was super into it. Thank you to the pub station for hosting us. Thank you to everybody and all the staff there at the pub station for welcoming us and being great. Yeah, it was an awesome experience to be there, to be on that stage, perform. Oh, and I also want to mention this too, to all the bands. Thank you for your hard work. Everybody put in so much work, from preparation to promotion, all of it. This was not just an easy task, you know. It took all of us working our asses off, getting prepared for the show, helping to sell tickets, pushing the event page and sharing the event and getting the word out. Everybody did a great job of it. So just a shout out to all of them and everybody who was involved in making this happen. So from our side of it, I'll speak to our end of everything. It was great. You know, the performance, I thought it was one of our best set lists that we've ever had. It seemed like everybody enjoyed it. Of course, it doesn't matter how great the show was or how good everything, you know, when you get told how great everything was. When you're on the stage, you can't help but think about all the things you could have done differently or all the things that could have been a little bit better. I thought the sound was a little loud, and that's not, let me just say this right now, that was on us. That's completely on the band. Had nothing to do with the sound guys. They were incredible, always a joy to work with. I just think that maybe, you know, we had our amps up a little too loud, and that caused a lot of not only issues for us on stage hearing one another, but I'm sure it was not the best listening experience for the people outside. Now, that being said, I never, you know, nobody really said anything negative about it. So hopefully, you know, it's hard when you're the guy on stage and you just want to put on the best show possible. You know what I mean? Like, you put in all this work, you put on all this effort. When you're up there, you want it to be as good as possible. And if you feel like there's something that just, it could have been a little bit better, it definitely sours the mood a little bit. Even when you have so many people telling you it was great, they enjoyed it, it was fun. That's all I care about, really. I just want people to have fun. I want people to have shown up, had a great experience, and that's it. You know, that's basically it. I'm not trying to, you know, we're not trying to, we're not a professional group. You know what I'm saying? So we're still in the local music. We take it seriously. We definitely take it seriously, and we want to be as professional as possible. But, you know, you're still working with what you got. And you're still learning. We're still, you know, there's still things even 5 years later that we're learning and can improve on. And that's also a great thing, is being able to learn, being able to take the mistakes and grow from them. But I'm not going to be down on it, you know, like any little flaws that we may have had, I'm not going to let that ruin what was a great night of music and a great experience. All the bands, pleasure to work with. It was my first time seeing Bloodless. Those guys are awesome and just they sound great, and they're all really cool guys. Same goes for Pine Box Radio and Render Me Silent. Those guys were nothing but easy to work with and very generous and kind to us. So thank you to everybody. Hopefully, if you came out, you had a great time. Because, like I said, that's all I care about. I'm not up there for vanity. I don't want to be up there as a, you know, look at me type thing. It's more like we're just expressing our art. We're giving you the music that we've created, and yes, we want it to be great and entertaining and as flawless as possible. It just doesn't always go that way. I've already talked to all the guys in the band. I think everybody agrees we could have done a little bit better. And there's just like little things here and there that could be tweaked. And that happens. And like I said, as long as you're willing to learn from it and not let it defeat you, then that's just how things go, you know? It does suck when it's on a bigger stage like that, but that almost makes it more of a reason to improve when it happens like that. So, regardless of everything, I had a great time. It was an awesome experience. Great to be on stage at any time and just to be able to play the music that we create and to share it with everybody and hopefully, give a little entertainment. So it was a great time. And again, thank you to everybody. Thank you to Pub Station. Thank you to the bands. It was an awesome night. And of course to everybody that came out and held the night with us. It was fun. So that was last Saturday. Well, this is coming out Monday. This was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So lot happening between now and then. We had the football week. That was great. My Broncos won, so I love that. It was not the best game. It was a little bit sloppy, right? Could have done a little bit better. But again, there's room for improvement. What one performance does not destroy you for a full season. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm referencing for music and for football. But yeah, so the Broncos defense is as advertised. Incredible. I think they were the best defense in week 1. The offense, we got little things that we can improve on and that we can fix and clean up. We got the Colts this week. Well, yeah, this past weekend we got the Colts. So I think we got that one. Like, the Colts actually looked really good in week 1. Now, I don't know if that's saying more about how good the Colts are or how bad the Dolphins are. I would lean toward the Dolphins just being really bad. Now, I'm not underlooking the Colts. They impressed, and they're at home. So the boys got to come hot. The boys got to come in ready to go and not underestimate these Colts. Daniel Jones, think what you will. Like, we all have this preconceived notion of who Daniel Jones is. If you're basing it on last week, the dude was incredible. So do not underlook these Colts. Some other big games that happened last week. The Packers, man. The Packers have looked great. They won on Thursday, and then they beat the Lions. Was that Monday night? Or was that Monday Night Football? No, Monday night was the Vikings and the Bears. Dude, I got it. I got it. Hand up. I was wrong. Now, it's only week 1, okay? That's one thing that we need to really make sure everybody's, like, aware of here. One thing we need to, like, we can't overreact. We can't overreact one way or the other. We can't say whether our team is certain teams are really good or certain teams are really bad. It's too early for that, right? But hand up, I will say this. I was wrong about J.J. McCarthy, okay? Especially in week 1, you come back by, what were they down, like 14 points, something like that? And J.J. McCarthy single-handedly helped bring them back in the fourth quarter. He was not looking good for 3 quarters, and I was like, see, I knew it. But there is something about this kid. He knows how to win, and he's got a great coach to help guide him. So hand up, Vikings fans out there, I was wrong. Again, I don't want to completely overreact to week 1, but he impressed me. So good on him. Oh, how can I forget I gotta mention the Bills and the Ravens game, right? That was one of the most incredible games I've ever seen, which capped off a great Sunday of football. The Bills with the comeback, down 15 points, I believe, going into with like 4 minutes left, and somehow, with 4 minutes, covered 15 points or 16 points. Because they won by a point. So I'm not going to try and figure out the math here. Either way, they had to score 3 times to win that game. And they did. With Matt Prater, who was a 41-year-old Matt Prater who got called up 3 days before the game and kicked the game-winning field goal. Impressive. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like, kudos all around to those guys. That was a hell of a game. And, oh, by the way, remember not last week, but the last episode when I told you do not take my advice on any bets. Might be time to take my advice on some bets because your boy not only won a parlay, but I put down a bet on Lamar Jackson for 60 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Nailed both of those. So over the Sunday football weekend, I made money. I probably, honestly, everything I made, I probably just like put back into food and drinks and all that. So I basically had a free Sunday of football. And I'm hoping to do it again. Now, again, we're not going to overreact. Had one good week of gambling means absolutely nothing. Am I going to try it again this week? Duh. Keep the luck rolling, and we'll see. Now, if I hit another parlay, buddy, be prepared because I might become a menace. Like, have I figured it out? And honestly, I will tell you, if you are going to do this is like legit advice that I think will help you. I'm not going to give you picks. I'm not going to tell you what to bet. But if you are to do a football parlay, do 3 games, do 1 with the spread, and 2 straight up money line. That's going to be your best bet as far as getting, if you do 3 spreads, absolutely good luck to you. It's almost inevitable that you're going to lose. Like, I have won that way before, and yes, you do get a better payout, but it is so hard to hit. Money line, that's just straight up pick. You're just picking who's winning. You just need that team to win. With the spread, you need them to win with the points. So, like I said, my recommendation would be pick 1 with the spread that you really trust in, and then pick 2 other games that you believe the team's going to win. And when you see the numbers, when you see the underdog or you see the favorite or this, that, and the other, and you can see where the numbers can change your amount, already know who you think's going to win. Don't get persuaded by the plus minus, by the favorites and the odds and all that. Do not get persuaded by that. If you already have a gut feeling of who you think's going to win, stick with that. Your gut is your best instinct. And those are my only gambling advices. And gambling involves risk. And I take do not take any advice from me. I am no expert in this. And I'm just covering my ass here. So if you do choose to gamble, it is at your own risk. So I am nowhere a professional at this. And I do not advocate gambling unless you yourself have made that conscious decision to do so. So there you go. I'm not trying to persuade anybody. How about that? And as I said, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to be like, these are the picks that you need to make. Like, this is a lock. Nothing's a lock. Nothing is ever a lock. There are certain bets that are more likely than others, but nothing is ever a lock, especially with football. Okay. I do want to also mention that as of today, the release of this episode, Monday, September 15th, tonight we are doing a benefit for my friend Brad, one of my best friends, known him my whole life. He's been on the show several times. He has to have heart surgery. He's had heart issues his whole life, and there's a procedure that he has to have done, and it's like pretty much a life-saving procedure. So at Hooligans, we are having a benefit to help support Brad and to raise a little bit of money for medical costs and travel costs because he has to go down to Salt Lake City for this. Starts at 6 p.m. We have a lot of great gifts, or a lot of great donations that will be in the silent auction. 2 incredibly beautiful guitars. One of them, I believe, Jay told me it was worth like $800. It's a Slash acoustic guitar, a Slash signature acoustic Epiphone guitar. And then I don't know if anybody out there remembers Scotty Simmons from The Zone. Well, Scotty Simmons is Brad's kid's grandpa. And he donated an awesome custom made guitar that he rebuilt. Like it was a destroyed guitar that he fixed up, and it's awesome. It's got a white tiger on it. So we got 2 awesome guitars. We've got a ton of baskets. Shout out to all the local band friends that I have who donated merch and CDs, and so I put together this local band basket. So you're going to get a whole bunch of awesome stuff from these bands all across Billings. And so thank you to everybody who donated to that. Thank you to everybody who donated anything in general. This is really going to help out a lot. And just anybody come on down, help support. We're going to have 50-50 raffle. We're going to have Monday Night Football, a doubleheader Monday Night Football. What could be better? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be awesome. So please come down and support. It's all for a good cause. God, what is going on with my throat? Like, all morning, feeling fine. And then I sat down to do the podcast, and now I got a fucking frog in my throat? What the hell? Like, go figure. Anyway, it's for a good cause, to help one of my best friends out in his time. So, and he's got 2 kids. It ain't his time to go. We got to get his ticker back to where it needs to be. So let's come down and help support. Okay. I gotta talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And this is exactly what I meant when I started this episode about putting the phone down, because since this happened, it's been nothing but fighting and arguing and even if it's not hatred or anger, it's fear and anxiety. And I totally get it, And I'll get deep into this, but the first thing I want to say is all I've seen on social media, on Facebook, is constant remarking. It's a lot of it is based around the Charlie Kirk assassination, and when something crazy like this happens, it's very understandable that people want to express their feelings and express their thoughts, and I totally get it. You know what I mean? Like, I was seeing all that stuff, and it was very tempting for me to write down something and to give my thoughts on it. Fortunately, I have a platform right here where I can do it. I just thought I'd save my thoughts for the podcast, because I feel like it comes across a little bit more genuine, and you can, when I'm speaking to you, you can kind of like gauge a little bit better as to like where I'm coming from and what I'm saying, rather than reading it on a text. Also, there's something that just feels a little bit like, and I'm not trying to talk shit on anybody here, okay? I'm not trying to like invalidate anybody for posting and giving their thoughts and opinions, right? But when you see this flood of comments and reactions and things like that, it feels like I don't want to be the one that's like, oh, now I have to say something. Like, everybody else is saying something, so I need people to know what I think right now in this moment. I also, I hate to react in the moment like that, because sometimes you need time to really process the information. Sometimes you need time to let more information become available. I mean, when it's a stunning event like this, it's hard to react just straight in the moment. It's good to take the time to reflect and to like really process your emotions and your feelings when it comes to something like this. So the social media aspect of all this is a huge part of what I want to talk about. But first, before I even get into that, this was an absolute tragedy. I myself was, I didn't really know Charlie Kirk. I knew of him. I've certainly seen a few of his videos. I wasn't like subscribed to him. I didn't follow him. He wasn't like somebody that was necessarily in my algorithm a whole lot. But yes, I knew who he was, and I knew a bit about his, like, what he did. I know he does the college campus thing and the prove me wrong debate with me, have an open conversation, and obviously very conservative guy. You know, conservative Christian guy. Those were his stances. Those were where he stood on the aisle there. Really big part of the, like, as far as helping to get Trump elected. He was big on like the push for getting Trump elected. And always, you know, been a bit of a controversial character, I guess. I never really saw him as a bad guy, right? Like, I get if you're on the opposite side that you wouldn't necessarily be a fan, right? And I never overly liked the platform of being like the gotcha thing where it's like, I'm having a conversation with you and like it's somebody that you don't agree with, but then you're like kind of doing the gotcha thing and then you're posting all like the, like prove this idiot wrong. And obviously now I'm just getting flooded with more and more videos. And I guess my interpretation of what he did before was not completely accurate. But again, I was not like a follower of him. Do I agree with a lot of the things he stands for? Yeah. That definitely aligns with a little bit more of where I stand. Now, do I agree with everything? No. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think anybody fully agrees with everything with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be something that you disagree with. And I think it's perfectly fine. You're perfectly within your right to have differing opinions. And that's what makes our country so great. For this to happen, especially on a college campus in front of so many people with all their cameras on him, so the whole world saw this happen. It's stunning. And it's tragic. And I do not condone whatsoever these actions. First of all, murder in general is bad. Crazy thought, crazy concept, right? That murder is bad? I'm not cool with that. I am certainly not cool with public execution. In front of, like, think about all those students, all those people there. Like, that will change their lives forever. Think about the people that, you know, it's become all too common. Like, we've become desensitized as a civilization, as a society, when we can just open our phone and see death. Like, that's not, we're not meant to see these things at this absolute, like, rate. You know, like, yes, death is a part of our world. You know, that it's a part of life is death. But to see gruesome, grisly death at the palm of our hands, it's desensitizing us. It's unreal that we're able to see this. And for the whole world to witness an assassination of yes, and this, make no mistake about it, this was a political assassination. I do want to point out as well, I did think it was kind of wrong for so many people to immediately assume that the shooter was an extreme left-wing person, like, before any information had been getting out. Obviously, that makes the most sense, right? It's the most logical conclusion would be that. But before you even know anything, I felt that was wrong to just immediately assume that was the case. And now, of course, they have the suspect. They found the guy who they believe was the shooter. turns out he has like a conservative family, and he was raised with guns in the house, all this shit. And now it's become the pointing of fingers, where now all the left people are like, see, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. Well, dude, that's not the point, okay? The point is, this man was murdered in front of a crowd of people, in front of the world. And now everybody's can see this. And again, you don't want to speculate motive, but it's hard not to assume it's because of who he is and what he stands for. And whether that's Christian values, whether that's conservative values, whether it's free speech, any number of those things, you should never be met with violence because you disagree with them. Any number of those. You shouldn't be murdered for your values, for the things that you believe in. I honest to God, can't believe that that's even a contentious thing to say. That people will just not agree with that. Now, of all the things, and again, I just wanted to say that this was a deplorable act. I do not condone it. I feel terrible for his family, for his 2 children, his wife. That's something that people just don't even consider, is the fact that this guy had kids. He had a wife. By the way, he's younger than me. I just want, just think about that for a second. If you know me, I have this platform here, right? I've said a lot of wild shit on here. Whether it was in the name of entertainment, to be funny, as a joke, or whether it was me being serious and having a real conversation and giving my real true opinions and thoughts. I've said some very disagreeable things on here. I've said some things that I regret saying. I've said some things that maybe I've changed my opinion about. I mean, I've been doing this for damn near 6 years now. So 6 years ago, I maybe had a different opinion than what I maybe have now. So somebody could go back 6 years ago and see something that I said and disagree with it, and even something that I would disagree with today. But to say that they can just take that, to say that they can take that information or see something that I've posted or said on this podcast and disagree with it, to take that and then disagree so much so that they think that they need to silence me, that they need to kill me so that I can no longer have a platform and speak my mind and speak to what I believe in. That's unbelievable. If you truly agree with that, you're sick. You're fucked up. And that's the thing that has pissed me off the most. It's sincerely killed me. It breaks my fucking heart. Is the amount of people that I have seen that are just completely okay with this. That just basically outright saying that they're glad that he's dead, or that oh, so sad, and then posting shit well, he was a gun advocate, so ironic, isn't it? So because he's a gun advocate, so basically what you just said is anybody who's a gun advocate deserves to die. Or if they die by a gun, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's the same gotcha mentality where it's oh, well, la-di-da, look at that there. So now, so what are you saying then? Are you saying that you are an advocate of guns? Are you saying that it was okay? This was, by definition, a school shooting, right? It happened on a campus. So are you saying school shootings are okay? Where do you draw the line? Where does the hypocrisy end? And to many people's credit, I have seen people on the left disavow this and say that this was wrong and that it just seems like what a crazy concept that people are actually having to argue whether this was okay or not. You know what I mean? It honestly stuns me. And then there's the people that came out and said, like, anybody who basically, like, was okay with this and made jokes or said that, like, they didn't care or fuck Charlie Kirk or whatever, you know, anything like that. And they're stunned that people are fucking going after them. Let me just say this. And I will say, I haven't, like, there's not a ton of people that I've seen that are doing this, but there's enough, right? There's enough people I've seen that are just seemingly fine with this and like advocating that it's okay. That it's stunning. And again, anybody, you know, I've seen more people disavow this and more people, you know, say that this was a horrific act, and even if they disagreed with what he had to say or disagreed with his stance and where he stood on the aisle, they still don't condone this. I've seen political, you know, leaders come out and disavow this, as they should, because hey, guess what? If you think that this is okay, then you are just giving the green light for any political violence. You don't think that there's fucking extremists on the right that would take this as an act of war? And you know what I mean? Like, there's extremists on both sides. You don't think that there's an extremist on the right that would, and by the way, any retaliation over this is not condoned by me. I refuse to acknowledge that there should be any retaliation. That is not at all. I'm just saying, if you're giving the green light for that, if you're saying that that's okay, you're basically giving the green light that any political assassinations are okay. And they are not. Free speech should never be met with violence. Just because you disagree with somebody. Just because you don't like what they have to say. And that goes both ways. And again, the thing that just kills me more than anything is, again, the amount of people that are just fine that this happened. And even if you didn't come out and say it, if you feel that way in your heart, if you didn't have to come out and say, like, or write it on Facebook or anything and be like, yeah, that was, like, don't care, like, fuck him, blah, 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 like, you know if you feel that way. And let me just say this to anybody out there who does truly feel that way. Take a look in the mirror. Have some, like, really look inward and think. Like, reflect on yourself, because you have completely lost your humanity. How have we become like this? Where we're so politically charged and we're so invested in these ideologies that we have become okay with murder. You know what I mean? Like, are you okay that girl got murdered on that train? That innocent girl got murdered on that train for no reason. Are you okay with that? Of course not. What, like, a senseless act of violence? How are they any different? And so many people, well, his rhetoric was hateful and it was anti-trans, and it doesn't matter. He was not hurting anybody. He was having open dialogue with people he disagreed with. And if you disagree with him, that's fine. it never should constitute murder. And that's where I stand on this. And as sad as I am for him and for his family, for his children, I am more sad for our society. Because the lack of humanity that has been exposed from this is shocking. If you are so devoutly ingrained in your political ideologies that you are accepting of something like this, you need to understand that you are in a fucking cult. If that is truly like where your allegiance lies so much to one side that when somebody on the other is murdered in cold blood, that you have no sense of humanity about it, you're in a fucking cult. And you need to fucking realize it. It's bullshit. And I do not stand for it. I would not have any different of a reaction if somebody on the left was murdered in cold blood in front of a crowded audience. No different reaction. It is never okay. And again, and I'll say this for the last time because it's firing me up and I'm so fucking pissed off about it. If you are one that advocates for political violence and death among your enemies, you have lost your humanity. You need to look in the mirror, reflect, and realize what the fuck is wrong with you. Okay? And that's that. That is that. And I just hope people can I only wish the best that people can learn to love again and learn to that it's evil to feel this way. How could you not feel evil for somebody to be killed? And again, all these conspiracy theories coming out, all these. It's here's what we know. A man was murdered in cold blood at a giant gathering. And we can presume it was something to do with his faith, his political leanings, or the fact that he condoned free speech and was a huge advocate for free speech. His organization was called Turning Point. This right here could be an extreme turning point for our society. One way or the other. We can either come together and realize that hatred is not the way, or we're gonna fucking burn ourselves to the ground. This will have long lasting effects. Believe me. The ripple effects of what happened to Charlie Kirk will be felt for quite some time. And again, his organization Turning Point, well, it may have created a very, very big turning point for this country. And we'll find out. We will find out. Also, yeah, I briefly mentioned the stabbing victim on that train who was a Ukrainian refugee. Dude, the liberals have to be in a complete fucking whirlwind. Their heads have to be just completely in knots trying to figure out what side to be on when this dude, this 14-time arrested guy who was let out of jail by liberal judges because they're trying to be lenient on crime, and this guy's just on a train, this girl, a refugee from Ukraine who was leaving a war-torn country to try and escape violence, comes to America and is murdered on a train, a public transit. So she's trying to escape violence in the war of Ukraine, comes to Charlotte, North Carolina, and can't escape the violence on a public train. But so it's So do you side with the Ukrainian refugee, or do you side with the black guy who was a convicted or facing multiple charges of felony that was let out by a liberal judge and was heard saying repeatedly, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl." So was it a racial crime by a black guy that you don't want to talk about, or do you want to defend the Ukrainian refugee? They got to be in complete knots right now. Their heads are fucking in a knot trying to figure out this one. Where do you side on that? Do you condone this murder, or like you condone the Charlie Kirk murder? That's just that one. I'm about to be done with it because I don't want to keep ranting and raving because I could go on and on and on. But the idea that you're just like, you understand where you live, right? You understand like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom of protest, all this shit. You love to do it. You love to like call it out when you're spouting your craziness. But when somebody else that you don't agree with, you want them silenced. If you can't argue with somebody, if you can't win an argument with somebody and you're so fucked up over what they have to say that you have to just resort to silencing them, you lost 10 times over. And you don't think there's not going to be 20 more Charlie Kirks that appear out of this? Like, they just made him a martyr. Like, he's going to be a fucking pedestal. He is going to be put up on a pedestal, and his message will be fucking amplified by 1,000 now. So if you thought you silenced him, you're fucking wrong, dude. You just made his voice louder. And all the people that supported him, their voices are going to be real loud. And that's where I'm ending it. I've talked a lot about it, and it's the biggest thing going on right now, so I had to bring it up. And yeah, I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I waited to gather my thoughts and to give it some real thought about it. But ultimately, all I could come up with was how sickened I am by society and the people that are okay with something like that. That's what I learned out of all this is we got a lot of sick people that need help, and they're fucking deranged in the head, and they've lost their humanity. When did the left party like become the party of violence? I remember growing up and being in high school, and I considered myself a left wing, a liberal, and it was always the party of peace and love and anti-war. When the fuck did it become that the left is the pro-war, pro-violence, kill your enemy, silence those who... And by the way, they always speak about anti-fascist. Everybody's fascist on the right. You're so fascist. You know what the most fascist thing that you can do is to silence your political rivals, to silence your political enemies. In dictatorships, in fascist countries, in communist countries, in totalitarian governments, that's what they do. If somebody speaks out against them, if somebody does not agree with their stance, they are murdered for it. That's a fascist fucking move. So if you think it's okay to murder political opposition, you're the fascist. So you're completely fucking flipped on your head. Now you advocate violence. Now you advocate death. That is not the Liberal Party I remembered being a part of. And no wonder I got pushed so far to the center and to the right. No wonder. Insanity. Okay, we're done. I've said all I can say, and I could say a whole lot more, but I'll just get too fired up, and this could just go on and on and on. So let's go. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Philly Karen. Okay, that's a little bit lighter of a news, and still annoying. Still something I can totally get fired up about, but in a different way. The Philly Karen. Everybody's seen this video by now. This was what was flooding my news feed before Charlie Kirk. Was this Karen? And again, I got a different take than most people here. So I agree that she was in the wrong. You know, she didn't have the ball. It might have hit off her hands. If you wanted that ball so damn bad, you should have caught it. Okay? And if she would have caught it, would have been fine. But no, she dropped it. It fell on the road down below. That's fair game. Fair game. You see it in so many games where somebody tries to catch the ball, it hits their hand, it falls down, somebody else gets it. That's just how it is. If you wanted it bad enough, you would have caught it. My thing of this is, and I think the thing that not enough people are talking about, is the dad. Okay? The dad grabs the ball. The way he hands the ball to his son, and then the way he, like, hugs him, and then she comes up and starts yelling, and he does this thing. That dad is a bitch. Okay? Not only did he react like this, but he gave her the ball back. Now, I understand when you're dealing with a Karen like this, you just want it to be done. You're just like, fine, here, just take it and get the fuck out of my face. But that's your boy's birthday, right? That's what they said. It was his birthday. You got a home run ball on your kid's birthday. You do not let anybody take that from you, no matter how nuts they are. Now, it all worked out in the end, obviously. The kid got to go, to the locker room and meet the player, and he got a signed bat. It worked out great. He got a bunch of notoriety and a bunch of love sent his way. So good for him. It all worked out anyway. But if that's my dad, if I'm at the game, it's my birthday, my dad just went and got a ball, and then some crazy bitch comes up and you don't tell her to fuck right off, and you just give her the ball and you do this, I don't know that I'm looking at my dad the same. I don't know that I trust this man to protect me. Like, how do I follow in his footsteps if this is the reaction? I unbelievable that nobody's talking about what a pussy the dad was. And you could tell in the video he says, well, go ahead and take it from him. Like, he wants her to take the ball from his kid, which is actually, I will say, good move there. Like that was the right call to be like, well, if you want it so bad, you can take it from my son. That's not a bad play. And then of course she's like, no, you took it from me. Oh, dude, I get too why some people think it's fake because it's just too perfect, but you can't fake a home run like that in that exact spot. That's impossible. But the fact that this woman's hair was the way it was, the way she reacted, the way it was textbook. It really could have been an SNL sketch, for real. Like, that's how fucking perfectly played out that went. But that's old news. I just had to talk about it because I missed last week, so I couldn't talk about it last week. Otherwise, I would have. I guess we can just wrap it up here with, okay. I did have one more thing. And then we'll do NFL predictions for this week. We'll close it off with some NFL predictions. Here's something else that annoys me. And you could call it, well, no. I was going to say the Karen of the bar, but that doesn't work. People at the bar, like, of course, I spent a lot of time at the bar this weekend watching football. We had, Thursday night football. We had Monday night. We had Saturday football with college. I didn't really watch a lot of college ball last week because of the show. We had NFL Sunday football. We had Monday. I've been in the bar a lot, right? I've been watching a lot of football. There are certain people, certain bar people, that there's a level of loud and excited that you can be, where it's not obnoxious, it's not annoying. And then there's the other level, where you are just an annoying person at the bar. If you are sitting at the end of the bar, and I'm sitting at the other end, and I can fully hear what you're saying, you're annoying. Nothing drives me more crazy than somebody either talking loudly at the bar with their buddy and just like like everything's just it's like, okay, dude, we don't need to be a part of the conversation. It's okay to be a little loud in a bar, a crowded bar. But when you are above everybody else and everybody else can hear what you're saying, that's too much. You are being rude to everybody here. And in addition, and I'm very much talking about a very specific incident that took place over the week. There was these two dudes sitting at the bar, and immediately, the second I walked in, I could tell they were a problem. And as I'm sitting there, of course, I can't not hear them because they're so fucking loud and obnoxious. They start talking to the bartender and saying something about her boobs. They're like talking about how big her boobs are, like out loud. And I'm like, bro, what? Like, how can you be so oblivious to the world around you? Like, that is just pure narcissism. If you are just in your own world, you give zero fucks about the people around you. You clearly have no respect for the person in front of you. This is another, like, you've lost humanity. You've lost your humanity. Like, you are just a fucking self-absorbed person that only cares about themselves. Everything's so funny. And then, like, hitting on young girls and shit. Dude, fucking, ugh. I'm just annoyed this week, apparently. I'm apparently in a real tense mood, because it took a lot out of me to not, I mean, they were big boys, and I'm not one to fight, but it took a lot out of me not to at least tell them to shut the fuck up, and they did get kicked out finally. Just be a good person. Just have some fucking common sense. Yeah. All right. Let's do our picks, and then we will wrap it up. All right. I already made my picks for the week, and I know. I said put the phone down, and here I am. I picked the phone up, but I gotta read the picks for you. So I did pick the Green Bay Packers to beat the Commanders. I know it doesn't really count. I am recording this on Saturday, so I have not seen any of the games. So, and you know it is, because I would never record on a Sunday during football season. All right. I'm just going to go through it. I got the Ravens over the Browns. I got the Bengals over the Jaguars. We're going Cowboys over Giants and Lions over Bears. That's one that I could see kind of going either way, but I think Dan Campbell's going to come out like swinging. We got Patriots over Dolphins. 49ers over Saints. Niners have a lot of injuries, so if they lose that, it wouldn't completely shock me just because of the injuries, but that's how bad New Orleans is. I'm still picking San Fran. Bills over Jets, obvious. Seahawks over Steelers. That's an interesting one. Like, that could go either way, to be honest with you. Steelers' defense is incredible. I think the Seahawks' defense is underrated. It's going to come down to the quarterbacks, right? We got Rams over Titans. Going Cardinals over Panthers. Obviously, I'm going to go Broncos over Colts. I think we have a better week this week, too. Eagles over Chiefs. This would be incredible. If the Chiefs go 0-2 to start the season, it would absolutely make my day. It would make my life, to be honest. Let's see. Oh, Vikings over Falcons. Vikings won me over. What can I say? The Kirk Cousins game. We got Texans over Buccaneers. Did I really do that? Why did I do that? I probably would have gone... I picked the Texans? Huh. I'm changing that. I'm taking the Bucks. Bucks over Texans. Why would I pick the Texans? Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks over the Texans. And then we got Chargers over Raiders. And that's your picks for the week. No, not telling you what to bet on, but those are the ones that I'm going for. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on the podcast. Again, if you wouldn't mind coming out tonight and supporting my friend Brad. Again, we have a lot of awesome items to auction off. So it means a lot, and we're raising for a good cause, and you'd be helping me out. You'd show some humanity. How about that? You know, prove that you have some humanity and come out and help a good cause, because we've lost too much humanity, it seems, and we're getting too desensitized. So this thing, put it down. Go watch a football game. Go hang out with some friends. Live life. Because, as we know, life's a garden. Dig it.
Just gotta keep on